This could be the best BinBok controller I've tested yet. This is the BinBok Play Ultra Controller for the Nintendo Switch, Windows, iOS, and Android as well. And well, this has just been launched today, so let's check it out. So inside the box, we get the manual, but I don't need that. And we get the controller itself, which we'll take a look at in a second. As we also get a 2.4 gigahertz dongle for use on PC, as well as Steam OS. But we also get thumbstick caps. And I really like these, so we'll come back to these in a minute. And then underneath the box, you get a USB-A to USB-C charging cable. But let's look at the controller, which is this. Boom, look at that. That is a big chunky boy. It really is a big controller, and you can't really tell how big it is until you kind of feel it, but it's just oversized. But the thing is this is actually like super comfortable. The ergonomics on this are ridiculous. This is such a nice feeling controller. Obviously I've had this for, I don't know, almost a week now. And yeah, I'm really loving the feel of it. Like, they've really caned these ergonomics. They just feel really good. I don't know why, like, it's so much better than any of their previous controllers in terms of shape. It's just oversized in every way. The horns are big. They're sort of very bulbous and round. So those for massive hands that have massive hands will feel right at home with this. This will feel great. I've got medium hands. It feels really nice. And obviously those with really small hands, I still think we'll get around this okay. But for medium and large hands, this is gonna excel a lot more, really. So let's just look at the aesthetics and stuff before we go over all the buttons and all the features and stuff. It's this really nice, like, grayed out, like almost rubbery texture, which I really dig. It's not a fingerprint magnet. It's really nice. And then the whole thing's like rubbery, really, other than the back, which is like plastic. But the sides just here, this is all like really nice and textured rubber grips all the way around the front. I really like it. And then on the back, we've got this kind of like plasticky feel, and you can see there's so many switches and buttons and extra triggers and stuff. But if I press the BinBok Play like button here, which is the home button, yes, it can wake your Switch up from sleep. It takes a second. There we go. So I've woken it up. If it wants to go in, there we go. And you can see the RGB LEDs. So yeah, it's got some really nice RGB LEDs, and yes, you can turn them off. And yeah, it's just a really nice overall looking controller. I actually think it's very stylish. I don't think it's over the top with the RGB and stuff. And this rubberized texture, it just feels premium. Like, it actually feels premium. And the rest of the controller is premium as well. So let's dive in. So in terms of features, it's pretty much got everything other than NFC. No, it doesn't have HD rumble, but it does have rumble. It's got macro paddles. So extra paddles we've got on the back just here, but we've also got extra triggers as well, which originally I was like, oh, I don't like the placement of that. But then actually after I started using it, I was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense, and I do like it. So you've got macro triggers just there and bumpers on the back, which support button swap as well as actual macro inputs up to like 21 inputs, I think it is. We've got a vibration button on the back just here for the non-HD rumble. It's just straight up rumble, but it's actually really nice. Then we've got our own dedicated turbo button on the back just here as well. So you can assign turbo to anything essentially. On the bottom, we've got our sync button, and we have a switch which says SWID. Now SWID, S is for switch, W is for wired or Bluetooth to PC, Android, and Steam. I is for Mac OS, and D is for this thing, this dongle, right? And then on the front, we have non-Hall effect joysticks, but honestly, I'm really surprised by these. We've got our D-pad, again, surprised by this. We've got mechanical face buttons with up to 5 million click lifespan, which is pretty impressive. We've got plus, our minus, our home button, which is up here. We then have a light button and our screenshot button. And then on the top, we've got L, R, L2 they name it, R2 they name it. Then this is L4, L R4, and then you've got L3, no, R5 and L5 on the back, just there. That's a bit of a mouthful to try and figure out. But yeah, so that's pretty much like everything other than these switches. So the switches, and we'll go over all of this in a bit more detail, but the switches, you've got like a gyro assist, which actually is pretty good. I actually low-key like it. But they could have just done away with these and just left them on at all times, but you've got the option, right? So you've got gyro assist, you've got no dead zone mode, and then you've got like hair trigger mode because it's got Hall effect triggers. So let's just go over these mechanical face buttons. So I do like them, but there's a slight sort of caveat because if you half press them, it feels like a membrane sort of button and it doesn't engage. So over down here, I actually have the thing up and it's not. There you go, I pressed it full and you heard the click because it's mechanical, and then it input, so you can see those like blobs just there are the inputs, right? But if I half press, see it's not actually actuating. So it's got like pre-travel, but it kind of feels just like a normal membrane button until you then push past it and then you feel the mechanical click. Now, if you're just kind of mashing it, it's fine. I've not had a single misfire from these at all, knowing that I have to just push like all the way. And they are nice. I really like mechanical buttons because they are really quick. Like you can spam them if you like kind of keep that same pressure on, you can spam them really nicely. And just the overall feel of these, they feel really nice. They're like domed and yeah, they're just nice. But yeah, be mindful that there is that kind of like half pressed like dead zone, if you want to call it that, where it's not actually going to actuate, but if you push it all the way, it will actuate. Now the D-pad, let's go over that. I'm really surprised by it. Now it does have a cap that you can take off, so you can just kind of pull the D-pad cap off. So if you had like a different one, you could put it in there, but they don't actually give you like a spare or anything. But I like the dish. You know, this dish is nice and concaved, and honestly, it rolls so nicely. It really does. It's a little bit clicky, but let me give you a sound test of the face buttons and the D-pad quickly. So there you go, that's what it sounds like. But I low-key really like this. Like it works really well. When you're playing, it's nice and fast to spam around because of that like dish shape, which, you know, I actually really do like. So D-pad gets a thumbs up. And I'm normally really critical on D-pads because they normally suck, right? They just do. Most companies can't get D-pads right. But I like this one. I do. I like it. It feels nice. And then the rest of the buttons are all consistent. So all the triggers actually feel consistent between one another, right? So R and L feel the same between each other and they actuate nicely no matter where you press them. These new ones, L4 and R4, again, feel really nice, very quick to like actuate as well. They come unassigned out of the box, right? The back paddles and these, so you have to assign them yourselves. But it does have a memory, so whatever you assign, you come back to once this has been turned off and it will remember it, which is really cool. And then the triggers obviously are those Hall effect triggers and they feel really nice. They do feel really nice. And then switching that button over here just makes them actuate like faster so that you've got like a hair trigger thing, but it's very minute. Like it's almost not noticeable, but it does actually, you know, do something. And then on the back, I forgot about this, sorry, this is one of the features. It actually comes with a battery pack. Now, it looks like you can take this out and then use AAs as well. So just double AA batteries, which I'm pretty sure you could do, but you know, I'm not gonna take it out now because there's no point. But you know, you can, by the look of it, swap it out. Now this is the USB-C charge port, so you can charge it or play wired just there, which is pretty cool. Now, let's look at those RGB sort of lighting effects before we go in and sort of test the controller. So this is what I've set it to, this really nice teal color. And it's really nice, like the look and consistency of the RGBs is very nice. I love this swoop across the side. And then also that sort of like friction ring around the joystick is nice and RGB as well. It just looks great, it really does. So you've got a button just here, which is for the light, and you can press it and it turns different colors, and they all look really nice. It definitely feels more premium than the other products, and you know, I just have to say that because in my opinion, some of their previous products have been let down by build quality and just certain aspects of the design and stuff. This feels really nice. So one press will change the color, right? So it will just change it to a solid color. Double press will then like breathe it in and out around different colors. So you can see it will cycle through different colors. If I double press again, it will then like rotate, spiral around. Look, there we go, which again is a nice touch. If I double press again, off. So you don't need to use them at all. But if I put it back on, if I hold that button, it's actually going to go through different sort of stages of brightness until it goes back, right? So there's, I think, 3 or 4 stages, and it vibrates to tell you that you've done something with it. So I like the RGB. I do. I think it's subtle, as far as subtle as RGB can be, right? Okay, maybe bad choice of words there, Andy, but you know, it's tasteful. Let's say that. Right, now let's have a look at what it feels like. So like I said, the ergonomics is just perfect. It sits in your hand so nicely. I can't get over how comfortable this is. I really can't. Like this, it just makes so much sense to have this slightly larger design. It just feels so comfortable. I can't stress enough how comfortable it is. And the sticks are amazing. They really are. I can't get over this because I asked them, I was like, so you've not put Hall effect sensors in the Ultra Pro? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, fine. Because I mean, everyone's on the Hall effect train, right? Hall effect, no drift, lower dead zone, more accurate. But these are really good. So even though they are not Hall effect, they're very, very, very responsive. Like the response rate here, there's like almost no input delay whatsoever. Whatever I do, there's a slight bit of input delay, but I find that with every controller, and also game specific, but they feel really nice. The fluidity of them, there's a nice friction to them. There is a bit of dead zone. So obviously I've got it in no dead zone mode and I am moving the stick a bit, right? But what in use, when you're not just pressing it incrementally, like you do not notice that. But there's obviously that other mode in a second. So when you're actually using this, it feels responsive. I don't feel like I'm having to push overly far for the joysticks to actually actuate. But let's turn it over and put that no dead zone mode on, right? Which is this one. So the one in the middle, I've just put that to on. And it's going to vibrate to tell me, hey, yeah, it's on, right? And now that's even more responsive. And it just feels like a bit faster to react, but there's still a bit of dead zone. Yes, there's a tiny, tiny bit of dead zone, but in general, they feel really nice, and having that option to make them like slightly less dead zone or not via that switch on the back will be good game dependent, because sometimes you don't want the joysticks to move really, really, really fast. You know, that you don't want them being super sensitive. And I'm not on about like the rate in which it moves. That's not what it changes. It just changes the dead zone, right? From where you have to move the stick for it to actually start moving it. Right, so now I'm on calibrate control sticks. I still have no dead zone mode on. As soon as I touch that, those lines disappear to say, look, I'm moving it. And that is with the no dead zone mode, right? So let's turn around, turn no dead zone mode off, and watch this. There is like 2% more dead zone when it's off. So there's almost no dead zone anyway. So yeah, there we go. So I'm pretty happy with that. Considering they're not Hall effect sensors, this is a decent, accurate joystick controller. Right, now the rumble. The rumble has its own sort of button just here. So vibration, rumble, whatever you want to call it. There is a button and you can press it and it will vibrate to sort of say 0%, 100%, 30%, and 70%, I think it is. I said that weird, but yeah, it's those. And to be honest, it feels good. You know, it's not loud at all. And I've left it on 100% because it's very subtle. It feels nice. It's not rattly and, you know, like it doesn't feel horrible at all. It's nice and controlled. It spreads evenly across the controller. It's actually a very nice rumble, much better than I felt in any of their other products. And whilst we're here, let's have a quick look at that gyro. So now I have gyro on, right? So acts as a typical Pro controller where I can move and it will do it. Now there is a very, very minimal delay, but I thought, you know what, the gyro is quite nice. You know, it doesn't need any changing. And I was like, what are they going to do with this aim assist mode, right? So if we turn it over and turn on aim assist, now it's really fast. Let me just put the camera straight. Now it's very responsive. It's almost like no dead zone mode for gyro. And this is much nicer. I mean, it depends. If you were sniping or whatever, you probably don't want this quick of a movement. But if you're running and gunning like on Doom here, you want to be able to like just fire away and accurately change. I like this. I like that mode. I thought it was going to be pointless. I genuinely thought it was going to be pointless. So you can see here, if I keep the controller sort of this way around, right? I'm moving it. Now it's on. Whoa, look how much more sensitive that is. It's crazy. And for the triggers, right? So this is normal with just like normal trigger mode. And again, they feel really nice. They swoop up really harshly, which kind of comforts your fingers. It's really good. I like them a lot. But we also have that hair trigger mode, and I'd say they're very, very, very responsive anyway. You don't have to push them much for it to actually do anything. You don't have to push it all the way down for it to actuate. But on the back just here, we can turn on the like hair trigger mode, and then it's even quicker. So you can really, really like spam it one just by like barely touching it, which is quite nice. I mean, I don't see a massive difference, but there is some difference there, and it's just worth noting that, you know, it works. Okay, let's go over the turbo really quick. Now, turbo usually you have multiple settings, multiple speeds, but they've actually done away with that here. And to be honest, I'm totally cool with it. So instead of multiple modes, multiple speeds, we get one speed at 12 fires a second, and that's it. And also it has to be bound to like hold as well. So what we can do is press the turbo button on the back, and I'm gonna do it to the shoot button, right? So I'm gonna press turbo and then do that just there. So I fired that one. And now I can hold it down, it will shoot 12 inputs a second. Now, normally you would press turbo again and that button again, and then, you know, it would then auto spam, but it's not doing that here. So it just turns it off, and you can turn it off just by pressing the turbo and that trigger again. You can assign turbo to different buttons as well. I've got a low battery and I've been using this for about 4 or 5 days. So yeah, it's pretty good battery life, to be fair, considering how much this can do. And now let's look at the macro buttons, because there's a fair bit to say here. So we've got the macro buttons on the back and on the top, which are these triggery things. And now when you're actually like playing a game, it's very easy to switch between these like sticky out ones, the back ones, and the bumpers. And I really like it. At first, I didn't like the look of it, but in use, it makes sense, you know, to just go across them. It really does. And I actually prefer the fact that it's got 2 more up here rather than 4 on the back, because it means that you can get to these really easily, and then these shoulder like trigger ones really nicely as well. So it makes it very, very like flowy. It's nice and easy to use. And to assign something, so I'm going to assign like aim down sight, right? To, let's go this back paddle just here. So I'm gonna hold the M button down, right? And then I'm going to press the one that I want. So hold M down, gonna press that, and then I'm gonna press that one and press the M button again, or the one I'm assigning it to again. And now when I press that back button just here, it's going to use that aim down sight. And it's a true button swap, because if I hold it, you can see that that's charging up right there. So it's not doing like a 1 second macro record where it would only just do that, or you know what I mean? Whereas this is a true button swap, and that applies to these top triggers as well. Now, if I want to cancel that, I can either press the macro and that button again, or I can just hold macro down for like 3 or 4 seconds. It will vibrate and that will clear the whole controller. Now it also has macro, where you can record a series of inputs to whatever you want. So to show you that, I'm gonna press M, and then this top one just here, which is vibrated, I'm now gonna go shoot, 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 shoot. I'm gonna aim down the sights, let it fully charge up. I'm gonna shoot, look left, look right, and then I'm gonna press the M button again. Now, I can put it down, press that, it's just playing the macro recording that I wanted, and even joystick input. And let's just test it, because I didn't actually do this. I don't know if you can assign turbo to that. So let's just see. I might have to press and hold it. Let's just see if it works. Yep. So you can assign turbo to a macro and just keep spamming it. But obviously with this controller, you would have to keep pressing down that trigger or bumper or whatever button you've assigned the macro to, because, you know, there's no like let go turbo mode. And then to wipe that, I can just press macro, hold it for a few seconds, and it will vibrate, and then it will turn itself off. Oh yeah, and you can change the caps on the sticks, and they just pull up, And then you've got these extra like extended height ones, which have to go on like a certain way. But now I've got a really tall one. So if you want even more accuracy with more throw on the top just here, you can actually swap these over, and they give you a bunch in the box, right? So you've got these and you've got these. And they even give you the nubs, as I like to call them. So they give you the nubbins. So let's just go double nub, because why not? And I low-key really love the double nub. Like, this feels so nice, and I don't know why. Like, the double nub, whatever controller it was from that I saw it on previously, this just feels so good, and I don't know why. I really don't know why having tiny, tiny little joysticks just feels good to me, but it does. It really does. But yeah, so you can swap them out and they stay on there nice and good, you know, nice and good, lol. But yeah, you can swap them out. It's another good feature. Now, pricing wise, you're looking at about $55-ish. Not too sure what it comes out at as the UK, because when you go on the BinBok website and select UK, it just shows dollars anyway. It's just everything's dollars. So I don't know. But yeah, about that $55, $60 mark. But you can save 10% off using our link down in the description. I imagine it will be code 128KB, but just use the link in the description. You can save 10% off your order on the BinBok website. So yeah, if you're interested in this, check it out. Now, my thoughts. I actually really like this. I genuinely like this. It does pretty much everything you could want. But yeah, I mean, really, there's not anything I can dislike about it. The ergonomics are fantastic. That is my number one like pro for this, is it just feels lovely. The layout of those back buttons, the layout of those triggers at the top, the extra like macro triggers, the macro functionality, the button swap functionality. It's got turbo as well if you're into that. The D-pad's decent. The mechanical face buttons are probably the like downside because of that half push thing where you can half press it and it doesn't actually actuate, but if you give it enough force, it's fine. And that's pretty much the only gripe I've got with it. Everything else just kind of works. So what do you think of the Ultra Pro Controller? Let me know down in the comments. And whilst you're down there, like this video, subscribe, leave me a comment saying you love me, and check out me and AJ on the podcast channel where we talk about all things gaming, and check out another video from me down here. And well, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.